Yo, 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 this is Mr. O. Yo, 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 Mr. O here, and today we're gonna learn about factoring trinomial when A is equal to 1. What is A? A is not just a regular letter for trinomial. It's the leading coefficient. That's the number beside the x squared, okay? Baby factoring because we're gonna set the leading coefficient to be equal to 1 in factoring this trinomial, okay? There's this also the big boy of factoring, which we're gonna do it on a separate video, okay? So let's go ahead now. So trinomial, from the word trinomial, three terms. They have the ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? This doesn't have to be equal to 0. For now, yeah, it will be later on when we start solving. So the coefficient of the x squared is a, and the coefficient of x is b, and the one without the variable x is your c, okay? A here, for now, we're going to set it equal to 1, all right? It's not always going to be equal to 1, but for this topic, it will be, and you will see how we factor it when A is equal to 1, okay? Basically, the idea of factoring is that you will look for two numbers that when you multiply them is equal to C, but when you add them is equal to B, okay? That's the idea, okay? So remember, that's the only thing that you need to know, okay? Every teacher have a different way, and one way that I can show you is this one. You draw the X form, okay? You can start this one in the beginning if you do not know how to do this, okay? So this is where you're gonna write the product or the when you multiply C, and then when you add them, it's going to be B. And the two numbers will write it over here. That's basically your work, okay? Again, there are multiple ways of doing this one. I'm just going to show you one way, okay? So now let's see the first example. We have k squared minus 10k plus 25. We know that the value of a there is equal to 1. This is the b, and that's your c. This is the b, and that's your c. Again, I told you the c goes here, the b goes there. So this will be 25, and this is negative 10. So since that's equal to 1, the factors there, you draw two parentheses and write k here, write k there automatically every time when a is equal to 1. Now, is the challenge here is that think of two numbers when you multiply them gives you 25 because that's your c. When you add them, will give you a negative 10. So you're gonna think, what are the numbers when I multiply them gives you 25? You know, you have a 25 and 1. Oh, negative 25 and negative 1, 5 and 5, negative 5 and negative 5. Which of these pairs of number, when you add them, will give you a negative 10? Obviously, that's negative 5, negative 5. So I'm going to put here minus 5 because that's negative, minus 5. And this is the factor of that trinomial. Okay, move on. All right. A here is equal to 1 again. B is 5. C is negative 14. So I'm going to write here negative 14. And this is 5. Since that's equal to 1, I'm just going to draw two parentheses here. R, R. What two numbers, when you multiply them, gives you negative 14? When you add them, gives you a 5. So there are a lot. You know, you have 14 and negative 1, negative 14 and positive 1, 2 and negative 7, negative 2 and positive 7. Which one here, when you add them, will give you a 5 because that's your B? The answer is negative 2 and 7. You add that one, is equal to 5. So minus 2 plus 7. The order doesn't matter. You can have there R plus 7, R minus 2. That's okay. Okay? Kaboom. N squared plus n minus 30. The value of A here is 1. The value of B here is also 1. The value of C here is negative 30. So this will be negative 30 and 1 right here. What two numbers when you multiply them? So what goes with 30? Negative 30 can be 15 and negative 2, negative 15 and positive 2. This is negative 30 and negative 1, negative 30 and positive 1. 5 and 6. 1 is negative and 5 negative 6. which one here, which one of the pair of numbers here, when you add them, will give you a positive 1. It's going to be negative 5 and 6. So negative 5 and positive 6. Since this is equal to 1, your a is equal to 1, draw two parentheses right there and right there. And since you know it's negative 5, positive 6. When you multiply negative 5 and 6, it's negative 30. When you add them, we'll give you a positive 1. Kaboom. Very simple, right? Okay, a few more here. So it's equal to 1 there. This will be negative 60, and that will be negative 4. What two numbers, when you multiply them, will give you negative 60, and when you add them, will give you 4. So I'm going to draw here two parentheses here, A and A. This will be 10 and 6. But negative 60, so this will be negative 10. Okay, because negative 10 times 6 is negative 60. Negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4. So right here, negative 10, positive 6. Kaboom. All right. So there are times that the value of a here is equal to 1, but there are only two terms. It's 1r squared plus 7r. You're given a and b. What you need to do here is very simple. You just go back to your GCF. What's the greatest common factor between 1 and 7? It's going to be 1. So you don't have to write it down. But do both of them have r? Yes. So the factor out the r and draw your parentheses, divide this by r, divided by r. What's r squared divided by r? It's just going to be r. 7r divided by r, this cross out, so it's going to be just 7. And if you distribute this back, you will get the answer, and that's the right factor. Okay? What if the value of your a is not equal to 1, but you can just simplify them by GCF? Look, 4 and 8 have common factor, which is 4. Do both of them have n? Yes, the smallest n there is n. Divide them both by 4n because that's your GCF. 4 divided by 4 is cancelled out. N squared divided by n1, you subtract them, it's just going to be n. Plus 8 divided by 4 is 2, and n is cancelled out, and that's the answer there. Okay? All right. So we mentioned about when a is not equal to 1. Like here, a is not equal to 1. This is still, on this case, this is still a baby factoring. Why? Because always check the GCF first. Look at this one, 5, 40, 35. Do they have anything common factor? Yes. What's the common factor? It's 5. Do all of them have x? No. So the GCF is just 5. So if you divide this by 5, by 5, by 5, that will cross out. That will give you x squared plus 8x plus 7. Now, if you focus on this expression, on this trinomial here, the value of a is 1 now. You can apply what we have learned a while ago. So since that's 1, just draw two parentheses, x and x. Now you can draw, when you multiply them, will give you 7. That's your c, and your b there is 8. Okay, so every time you're given something here, a trinomial, always check for the GCF. All right, keep moving here. So what two numbers, when you multiply them, gives you 7? When you add them, gives you 8. The answer is positive 7 and positive 1. When you multiply 7 and 1, it gives you 7. When you add them, it gives you 8. So positive 7, positive 1. But don't forget to drop this 5 here outside, and kaboom. All right, one more here. And 6n squared minus 48n plus 42. All of them are divisible by 6. The greatest common factor here is 6. So divide this by 6, by 6, by 6. Cross it out. N squared. 48 divided by 6 is negative 8n. 42 divided by 6 is 7 again. So we know here is going to be 7. This time is negative 8, so negative 7, negative 1. So the two factors will be n minus 7, n minus 1. And that's how the cookie crumbles. Kaboom.